Good morning, good afternoon, good day to viewers around the world. You are welcome to an edition of our program, News Echoes, this beautiful Wednesday morning from Milan, Italy. My name is Mark Godwin Iweajua, and this Wednesday, 8th November 2023, we've come to give our global news affairs updates. So, like as usual, joining me from different corners of the world are my coordinators. Right there in Lagos, Nigeria is Bidi Nana. Bidi, you are welcome. How are you, Bidi?
I'm all right, Massive. My good morning. Thanks for having me once again today. Our viewers all around the world, thanks for joining us today. Let's do it like always.
Let's do it like always. But today we're doing it more than as usual because we have a special guest, a new panelist, a wonderful friend and brother, a colleague in the UK. Femi Okay, are you there? Femi Okay, you're welcome to SSM News Echoes Global Africa Wednesday morning. How are you, Femo?
Very fine, thank you. Femi okay, Femi okay. Make sure you say okay. Not okay, I'm not a rat.
Like that. Sorry.
Good to have you here, Femi.
Okay.
Nice to see you guys.
That's how it's pronounced. Thank you, Femi.
Yes.
Femi, you're welcome.
Nice to see
This
you.
Beautiful morning here in Milan. First of all, we do some little newspaper headlines. What we do on Wednesday is we go through some Nigerian news updates, and we look into some other discussion stories too. So here in the newspaper headlines this morning, some of the news we're getting direct from Nigeria is hardship bites hard, they say in Nigeria, as cooking gas scarcity has hit Lagos and other states in the southwest. From another newspaper, we hear that fuel price has increased in Kanu, Niger, Benue, and some other states due to diesel costs and forex rates. We're also hearing on the news headline that some senators are dumping their party and they are joining new party in the PDP senators join new party. Also on the foreign scene, U.S. worries as Russia moves to surround Europe with military bases. I wonder why. Also coming in from the newspaper headline is tension in Kogi State. Kogi State is middle, south, central Nigeria. Tension in Kogi State as APC thugs kill policemen, 4 others few days to election during attack on SDP campaign DG. And there's another one here again. It's a pastor in Delta State reportedly sells his church and members to another pastor and relocates abroad. Finally, there's a news here that is also interesting. It says, any attempt to arrest Dati Baba Ahmed or Peter B, Nigeria will be set ablaze. This is a group that is saying this. We don't know why they're saying that. And finally, on newspaper headline is the story of the Portugal Prime Minister that resigns as his government is involved in a corruption scandal. Before we go into our discussion, gentlemen, Femi Oke and Bidi, what do you say about these small newspaper headlines this morning? Is there anyone you're picking on to say something? The pastor in Delta that sells his church, that sounds interesting.
Massive Mark. Let me start with the hardship bite Nigeria. That's no longer a news. It's a stale news because we've come to accept hardship in Nigeria as a normal thing. It's making a headline now, but this started like 5-6 months ago. It started last year, like 2 years ago, but it got worse like 5-6 months ago. So making it a headline now is like maybe probably they felt it. Do you understand? It's not a news. Now if you look at what is happening in Kogi State, Imo State, and the Bayelsa State, the election that will be coming on 11th of this month, I want to say something before I even make a comment on this. See, Nigerian politics has always been fraudulent. It has always been chaos during Nigerian election. But during the PDP, but this APC own, it has really intensified. It has becoming another thing. I'm telling you, I won't tell you that it has not, but the rate at which we do election this day is something else, and it's becoming worrisome. But unfortunately, Nigerians are not seeing it as that. You remember last election, the one that related Yahaya Bello, a woman was burnt, a PDP woman leader was burnt in her house. What happened? See, today, nothing has been done about that. So now, having a police officer killed and other people killed, it's not a new thing. But it becomes a new thing when the people who are supposed to talk or say something about it are keeping mute as if nothing is happening. Look at what is happening in Imo State. And it's become a pattern, because if you look at all these happenings, it's actually more in APC states. You now find out that it has become a grab it by all means pattern. There's going to be a election. There's going to be election in Bayelsa. It's hot, but it's not as hot as it is in Ekiti and Imo State. Do you understand? So
yeah.
it's not making. They're
Good
not
one.
making it.
Good one. That Femi, if what you say on this small newspaper headlines this morning, is there anything
Well,
you're looking into?
yeah. Well, with regards to fuel and gas, with the gas, we heard that a lot of the marketers are going for exponential profits. They're putting massive increases in prices, which are not necessary. Their margins are very large, and maybe something needs to be done about that. With regards to diesel prices, it's deregulated. So whatever the price of diesel is in the world market, that's the price you're going to pay. And with the value of the naira fluctuating as it is, you're going to see that situation. But as you've seen of recent, the naira has appreciated somewhat, but it takes time for that price to reflect in the market. With regards to the politics, well, let me do that last. With regards to the pastor, I mean, you see, this is Niger for you. Now, Niger, we did. Everything is possible. So if the pastor is selling out his flock to another pastor as a quick way to get to heaven, only God knows what they're doing. So there's that. Now, with regards to the politics, I've just been writing a piece now regards to Kogi, Delta, Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo, and I'm going to be having a show tomorrow where we will discuss that. That is it going to be APC, PDP, or Labour Party who's going to win? Now, the other guest, I don't know whether she may be in the background, specifically mentioned that APC states seems to be where there is a lot of angst and a lot of violence and whatnot. You've got to ask yourself, in whose interest is it to have that violence? You understand? If you are a state governor, it would not be in your interest to have violence. It makes no sense whatsoever. So you'll find that there may be other hands, third forces, whose interest is to make the place ungovernable, to make the government look, incredulous and not having any stability, so that they can. So sometimes not what you see on the surface is exactly what it is. And with regards to SDP, really, is SDP going to win any election in Kogi State? I tell you, with all due respect, they'd hardly, if they get 1,000 votes or 2,000 votes, they've had a result. So it's not like they're going to be a credible challenge. It's the race in Kogi is specifically between Dino and Ododo. It's going to be an APC PDP affair. In Imo State, it's possibly a three-horse race with PDP, Labour Party, and APC. Obviously, the power of incumbency is there. And there's the idea and the notion that certain persons in the political arena have said, since Governor Hope Uzodinma is the Supreme Court imposed governor, they're going to make sure that Imo State is ungovernable. And you can see that since he's been in tenure, Imo State has indeed been ungovernable. So now it's a matter of, is there going to be renewed hope for Imo State, or is it going to be a continuation of a hopeless Imo State? We shall see. With regards to Bayelsa State, I think Bayelsa State is an interesting one. You remember that last time APC actually won that one, and it's only because of the so-called Supreme Court imposed governor Diri, that PDP became the victor because of technicality, some dodgy documents of the deputy governor candidate. Silva, they tried to take him off the ballot, and now the appeal court has put him back on the ballot. So it's going to be a straight race between APC and PDP. I don't know where Labour Party is in the fold. You understand? So I don't think they're going to do anything. So it's APC, PDP. Incumbent is PDP. It's going to be a tall order for APC to win, because they're also a divided house in somewhat right now, because the former candidate is not happy that he won and he should have been on the ticket. So who knows? We'll see. It's going to be a close one.
Thank you, Femi. Okay, Femi, you're real on point. You're far away from Nigeria, but you're on ground following up what's happening. Gentlemen, BD, lady, well, let's go on a small break. We'll come back with the discussion. The discussion is on Nigerian Labour Congress declaring a nationwide strike. Also, there's a news that came in last night. Most African countries that owe China, it's time to pay up. It's time to pay up. And China is coming for their money. So we'll go on this short break, gentlemen, and we'll be back. Thank you for the updates with the newspapers. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers watching us, we're happy you're tuned in. This is News Echo Global Africa, this Wednesday, 8th of November, 2023. And we are here giving you our update, and it affects you guys around the world. So stay tuned as we come back on the second half. Yes, you're back. We're back. You are with us. News Echoes this morning, Wednesday morning here in Milan. And I'm here with my colleagues, coordinators from the different parts of the world. Right there in Lagos is BD Nana. Right in the heart of London, the beautiful city of London, is Femi Oke. Femi Oke. And joining us, ladies and gentlemen, is our good friend and big brother from all the way from Toronto, Canada. Big George, you're welcome. George, how are you this morning?
I'm just wonderful. It's good to be here. Feeling okay. What a wonderful pleasure to have you with us.
Yes, to have you too.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome.
So, we're following the news, and you guys do a great job putting your nose out there to sniff out what's going on. Yesterday, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TALC declared that there'll be a nationwide strike from November the 14th. It was put out by the leadership of the two unions. This is also following the actions that happened right there in Imo State last week, where the NLC National President was brutalized. We saw videos of him bleeding, and it's getting really serious. So there's widespread outrage by a lot of people on that happening in Imo State. And also, is showing that there's some insincerity and some maladministration going on with the Nigerian government and the NLC. Let me start with Femi Oke. Femi Oke, what do you, okay? Femi, I have to get this right. Yes, there's Patrick, okay, so I like it, but you are okay. Femi, okay, what's the situation there in Nigeria? NLC is declaring nationwide strike, and
so you've got so up front, my allegiance is obviously to APC. That's my party. So even though I'm a common political analyst, I say it from my point of view. And the way I see it is this: I found that the elections in the general elections was a different kind of election, and it was an election where we, for the first time, had three major parties, which is a great thing, and more or less they were neck and neck. yeah, the majority of votes went for parties that were not APC. So the majority of votes went for PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP. So in effect, that was PDP split into three. Plus, you had the Wike and Mackenzie and the rest doing their bit. So actually, it was PDP that lost that election, because if all those people had stayed within PDP, PDP would have won the election hands down. But they split the vote, and we are where we are. Now, when we look at Imo State, I've already earlier said that certain persons or certain political activists in the fora in Imo, and I know a lot about Imo, I have a lot of friends from Imo, have made the situation that they are completely angered by the fact that fourth place Hope Uzodinma came in to become the governor. And so for them, that's anathema. I mean, funny enough, remember, APC was there before with Rochas, okay? But then Rochas tried to impose his own relative to become the governor. So they split APC. So they thought that they could win hands down with APC split between Hope and Rochas. But APC managed to win, some say, through the back door. But anyway, once you've been made, the Supreme Court has made you governor, you are the governor. And people should live with that and allow 4 years to come back to run. But they've made the place ungovernable. And on top now, you have a situation where the unions have now decided, they've already put their lot in with the Labour Party. We know that the unions and Labour Party are one-on-one. So this whole national strike scenario is nothing more than politics. It's not about Labour unions, it's about politics. Because Ajero went there to support the Labour Party candidate, talking about he went there for Labour unions. That was not the real deal. Imagine a situation where a whole state has gone into darkness because of unions. Ajero is the head of the Electrical Workers Union and has plunged Imo State into darkness, okay, just so that they can win an election. To me, this is outrageous. And now they're threatening a national strike. Can you believe that? And I think our labor unions, our labor laws need to change. In the UK, you cannot have a national strike on, let me just finish this one. You can't have a national strike on a local matter. You understand? It's called wildcat strike. So if there's an issue in Imo State, the strike should be specific to Imo State. To plunge the whole nation into a national strike based on an issue in Imo State, I think that's outrageous and it shouldn't be countenanced.
Okay, Femo, two things I'm holding you on before George gives us his own take on this. The first thing you said was when somebody speaks, they should allow him lead for the 4 years. Listen, my brother, I think there's something called people's mandate. You can't impose on people what they don't want. If the people have made a choice, their choice should stand. That's why it's called democracy, Femi. Also, it's not about Ajero going there and being on the side of the Labour Party. Take note that there were some things they saw in Imo State. First of all, the police commissioner in Imo State is looking like he's in line with the present governor, and that shouldn't be. Police commissioner should be a neutral, non-partisan individual. So there was that attack on the man because a lot of things were really off the line right there. George, what do you think? Femi has said what he said. What are you copying from your corner, Big George, from Canada? What are you looking at on this?
Ever since the new government came in, you have seen how many times strikes were called, and they will call for strike, they will go for negotiation, and then after the negotiation, nothing comes of it. The people remain the same, the workers remain the same. But so something must have been going on behind closed doors. There are some on-the-table transactions that has been rumored to have been going on. While every single time a strike is called, a nationwide is called, or a partial strike is called, and then you end up seeing nothing happening. So, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people are disenfranchised, and they feel like possibility of internal negotiations are taking place. Our interest is not being viewed. Our interest is not being represented. So that's part of the reason why I believe that a lot of people are very, very dissatisfied with the transactions and the calling of strikes and the ending of strikes type of deal. Something is going on. And when they beat up this guy, Joe Ajero, it was some things went behind the scenes that we really do not understand, because how can the president of NLC come into a state and then all of a sudden he's end up being brutalized and sent out of that place disgraced? So the point is, okay, another 14th of November is being called. How is that going to end up again? Would they come out actually having a tangible resolution that will affect the people, the NLC and the trade union? Would they? Because they have not. And yet it seems like every time they go in for negotiation, they come out with some kind of pseudo resolution that doesn't affect the people or appease the members of the two trade union and Nigerian Labour Congress. So that's part of the thing that is really happening now. What we are looking at is after this particular 14th, that would determine exactly what is really going on. So I'm not quite sure that I understand the intricacies and the details of the reason why that man was beaten up. A lot of news is they're flying, but the truth is not really out yet. That's what I believe.
The truth is not really out yet. So you're almost aligning with Femi on this one somehow. BD,
there is some elements of truth in what he's saying. Most of the things we're hearing publicly, because most of the time, what it really is going on, you don't know. Or it's what the news is flying, or whatever they come out and make some statements, and then you take it from there. But what the actual things that are going on behind closed doors, most of us do not know the truth. Honestly speaking, that's what I believe.
Yes. But somebody
I don't see all these negotiations going on and nothing is coming out of it. It's all nothing but promises, and yet they will come out, or we are satisfied, or they have a promise to do this and promise to do that. Up until now, we haven't seen any tangible resolution that affects the members of the two Labour Congress and the trade union.
But somebody's on ground, George. BD can give us at least to an extent what's happening there. BD, what's happening? Will they go on strike this time? They've said it, like George said, they've said it a lot of time before. We're going on strike and it was quashed. Will it happen this time? And if it's happening, will there be something out of this, or will it just be a protest where people stay home and are hungry? Life becomes more miserable for them, sitting home without doing anything. BD, tell us what you have there.
Massive man.
Yes.
There's this saying that when a salt loses its taste, it becomes worthless. Joe Ajero, with the negotiation he has started with a federal government, going inside back door, collecting some tips, he has lost that potency of an LLC president in Nigeria, and that is why they have the guts to beat him. He called this thing on himself. Yes.
Are you saying this as a matter of fact, or is it an allegation, Billy?
I'm saying as a matter of fact. Having said that,
you have proof to substantiate this particular what you're saying. You better be careful.
I'm not being any careful.
You can't say emphatically without any type of proof.
Sir George, let me tell you. That is no. Wait, allow me to speak. See, I said it. I'm saying emphatically. It's my word against me. Is it not true?
No, but you cannot say it publicly unless you have a tangible proof. You can call it an allegation.
You better just say you allege. You allege. You allege
yes,
that he's stolen. That's enough.
Please,
that's enough.
Your language with that. You
because if you say as a matter of fact, you could be called in for libel.
Sir George.
Okay. Let her go ahead. Go ahead.
Ajero keep cancelling strike. Keep cancelling strike every time, every day. He has made himself worthless in the face of government, and that is why they will have the guts to lay hands on him. They would have killed him. Do you understand? He called this upon himself. But having said that, Femi, I beg to disagree with you. See, there's something you said. You said that NLC is Labour Party. I beg to disagree with you. It's like coming to say that
Really?
every obedience is a Labour Party member. Do you understand? Obedience are not practically or automatically a Labour Party member. There are people there are APC member that supported Obi for presidency. There are PDP member that supported Obi for president. That does not make them automatically a Labour Party members. Now, so I beg to disagree with you on that.
I'll have to respond. You must allow me to respond.
Let me finish. You respond. Yes,
yes.
Let me finish. You respond. Now, see, what happened in Imo State is this. Ajero did not go to Imo State on his own. The Labour Party leader in Imo State organized that protest and called him. They invited him to be part of that protest. And why was the protest? The protest was the owing of labours in Imo State, the harsh treatment that Labour members are getting from the sitting government. That was what Imo Labour members scheduled, and they invited Joe Ajero. Joe Ajero did not go to Imo to organize a protest. It was the Imo State Labour members that organized that protest and invited him. Do you understand? And Joe Ajero was beaten. And the person who monitored that beating was the Commissioner for Special Duties in Imo State. And let me tell you, in front of the Nigerian police force, they were beating Joe Ajero. And after that, the police force, they took him away. They whisked him away. And now what they came to say, Nigerians, is that they take me out of the morgue. Who are the morgues? That's what we are still asking. See, let me tell you, we live in a country whereby you are not expected to say the truth. And when you say the truth, even when the people know that you're saying the truth, they will ask you, where is your proof? And I've gotten to the stage in my life that I no longer give people proof. I say what I know.
As long as you know it. Thank you. Okay. Femi, you want to respond?
Right. First and foremost, you mentioned that the matter was supervised by a biased commissioner of police. You'll be glad to know that the IGP has removed that so-called biased commissioner of police, so he's not there. So that's a good thing, I think, for the elections. The idea that the Nigerian Labour Congress are not part and parcel of the Labour Party is a joke. It's the clue is in the name. The Nigerian Labour Congress and the Labour Party. In fact, the Labour Party. Let me finish. Let me finish, please. The Nigerian Labour Congress are forming members of the Labour Party. That's a fact. Check it out. And actually, the Nigerian Labour Congress, its headquarters was used as a campaign headquarters for the Labour Party. We can't deny that and try to disassociate them. And that's why the Labour Party is being ridiculed. If you really must know, Betty, is because the Labour Party has put the Nigerian Labour Congress, instead of focusing on unionism, has become politicized and is focused on the Labour Party. And that's why, like you said, people are not going to take them seriously anymore. When they call for a national strike, you see, it's not going to be all over Nigeria. It's going to be politicized, it's going to be sectionalized, and people are not taking them seriously. If they focus on labor matters and not on politics, and you must ask yourself this question: why must Ajero go at this particular time to Imo State, if not to galvanize support for the Labour Party and Athan, the one armed bandit general? That's what it's all about. And if you think it's otherwise, you're just being naive. It was all about politicization, and therefore, what's going to happen, unfortunately, is that people are not going to come out in mass to vote. So he could have done this protest for unions or whatever after the elections. Not now. Okay. Elections what? Saturday.
George, you want to respond? We have 1 minute to do that, George. We have 1 minute. So
I think it's 30 minutes already. So let's go on break, and then after that, I will respond to that because
Femi is bringing some really hot lines here. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's go on break. Few minutes, and we'll be back. Viewers, you are tuned into Wednesday morning here in Milan. We are putting out our news echoes for the global Africa, and I'm here with my various coordinators: Bidi Nana from Nigeria, Femi Oke from the UK, London, and George Sajor Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. So let's go on the break. It's getting really heated up here. You don't need to miss this. More discussion coming on the line. When we come back, we'll be talking on Abacha's loot that's been recovered and what's happening to China's money. China wants its money back from those that he has borrowed. So let's see you on the other end, viewers. Thank you.
This country has some of the most extraordinary culinary diversity in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. This first dish is amala abula, made popular by the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria. It starts with amala made from dried yam and then is covered in a variety of soups. Next we have ofe and sala, a white soup that is synonymous with the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. It goes best with fufu, or akbo as the Igbos call it. Next we have suya, the most well-known food of the Hausa and Fulani people of northern Nigeria. Meat is covered in a peanut-based powder called yaji and cooked over an open fire. This is banga and starch, a classic of the Urhobo people of Delta State. Lastly, we have onunu, a plantain-based swallow of the Izon people in South Nigeria. We are eating it with fisherman's soup, popular throughout this whole region. And of course, we don't forget the jollof rice. This is popular everywhere in Nigeria. I think what makes Nigeria so great is the diversity of all the different people coming together. These beautiful ethnic groups living side by side, sharing culture and cuisine is what makes Nigeria such an amazing country to visit. Nigerians should be so proud of that cultural heritage, as there is so much more that unites than divides them.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment, a better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
Yes, viewers, you are tuned on to News Echo Wednesday morning, our Global Africa update. I'm happy to have my guys back. I hope you're all there. Do we want to go into the responses or do we go to another story? There are so many things to talk about. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think I wanted to respond a little bit, because sometimes I'm not quite sure whether Femi is actually connecting the names, the dot between the names, Labour Party and the Labour Congress. See, because when Hope Uzodinma came out and started saying that, alleging that, Labour Congress came there to meddle with political affairs, is just a way to use a cosmetic veil to cover the proper reasons why the failure of the possibility of the police abusing the president of NLC. You could see that, because I don't think personally that the Labour Congress has anything to do with any particular political affiliation with Labour Party. Because if you look at, if that is the case, believe me, we would have seen the signs all over written. Number one is every time they go in for negotiations, they come out with a new pseudo resolution, and the possibility that some appeasement took place unbeknownst to us is glaring in the face of everybody, and that's the reason why the suspicion is there. So for the APC governor, Hope Uzodinma, to come out and say, allege that Ajero came there to meddle with the political affairs, I don't believe that for a moment, because I actually also believe that, based on what we have seen so far and the number of strikes that have been called and how many times they came out with pseudo resolutions, you will say that I would believe that they're working for APC government. If not, why, with everything that is going on? No, if you look at it from that standpoint, you could actually allege that also, that it's possibility that they're working for the APC government. They go in. No, it's as it looks.
I want us to go back and forth in the response, but
no,
that's a
I'm not going to go back. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that it was glad. I'm glad that you had the national anthem that was sung quite well, but in your advertorial just now. And I just wanted to say that Mercy needs to check those lyrics and really sing that song again. The person that sang the national anthem was really great just now.
Thank you. Okay, legends, gentlemen.
Martina, can I say one thing before we leave?
No, we have so much story, and we don't have the time. Please don't worry. Okay. BD, you're going to give us updates on the Imo election. I hope your eyes are on that. It's few days to Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa, and I want you guys to put your eyes on that, because we'll be having the situation room on that day live. We'll be here all through the day. So Femo, if you're online, we're going to be here commenting, looking at it, because some coordinators will also be beaming for us live from the various election centers. So let's keep that till then. Something very interesting happened during the week. Last week, Friday, like some of you probably were following, the presidency on that Friday said France will return $150 million looted by former Nigerian leader General Sani Abacha. Paris, the Paris government, the country, France, made a commitment in Abuja on Friday and said they are returning that money from the deceased general. Also, that brought up some statement from the State House. The Media and Publicity Secretary Ajuru said Bola Tinubu commends what European countries are doing on that repatriation of funds, and it was a funny, interesting one. Gentlemen, we've been having series and series of Abacha's loot being returned. That's not the issue now. The issue now is, what do we do? What have they been doing with those returns? In 1998, we had 750 million returned. In 2000, we had $64 million returned from Switzerland. In 2020, in 2002, we had 1.2 billion returned. And the list goes on and on. In 2003, 160 million. In 2003, again from Switzerland, 188 million. In 2005, 461. In 2006, 44 million. And I mean, the list is so on. So this new one now is 150 million from France, Paris. Let me start with Femi, okay? Femi, okay. What is wrong with Nigerian leaders, first of all, looting, taking our cash and putting outside the country in their own saving, their own accounts? And when this money comes back now, there are no concrete arrangement on how it's spent. We don't know who takes it. We don't know what happens. We just know they brought back this money, and that becomes news, and later it fades out. Femi.
Well, this Abacha loot is never ending. I don't know. It's like every government that comes in, it's coming in trickles. The thing is, that was a military government, and when they had a military dictator who's had his hands on the coffers, and they could take whatever he want, more or less the state's money was his own money. I think there are more regulations now. They're still looting, but it's not as brazen as that. Now, when the money comes in, it's federal government money. It goes into the coffers of the federal government. We are running a deficit budget already, which we have more expenditure than revenue. So I don't think when the money comes in, we should be thinking that it's going to go to a specific expenditure as such. I think there was a situation where money's coming from America and Switzerland and so on. They were trying to put restrictions on what the money could be spent on. So, yeah, I mean, we would think that the media and civil liberties organizations and concerned citizens should make their inquiries with the Freedom of Information Act if they want to know specifically what happened with those specific monies. But as I said, they just go into the big pool of money and they get shared either by federal allocation or for specific government expenditures. I don't think that it gets allocated. And really, $150 million in the scheme of things is not real money. It's not a big deal. I mean, for a country of 200 and nearly 50 million people to be thinking that $150 million is a big deal, it really isn't. So it's not going to take us anywhere. That's money that's spent, I mean, in a heartbeat, you know?
That's for you, Femo. That's you saying that. That's a lot of money.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being truthful with you.
Yeah, George, go ahead.
The fact is that, you know, there is no accountability in our country. So the possibility, you know, we can say what we think the money should be used for. And that's all we can end. That's where we can end our wish. But in actuality, we don't know exactly what happens to this money, because that money could be brought into the pool and leaves the pool right away without any notification or any justification or anybody saying this is where that money is going. So, you know, the guess is yours as mine. Well, you know, we know what the money is supposed to be used for. But is it being used for that? Yes, it's peanuts compared to the larger scheme of things, but it's a lot of money if it concerns one individual. Because 150 million, you can't finish it in your lifetime, you know, even if you're one of the most ostentatious spenders. So that money is the country's money, is the people's money. There should be traces and accountability of the users of such, you know, loots that are returning into the country. Because if he comes in and gets into the larger pool and then goes in through the back door again because somebody ordered it to be so, how can you account for that? You cannot. Look at Diezani. Look at the billions of dollars that woman stole from, you know, from the coffers of the government unnoticed. And look at the past administration, under the Buhari administration, trillions of naira that were mismanaged and misused. Nobody can tell. You know, he came to fight corruption under APC government, but under his nose, more money has left the country than ever before. So these are the things we're talking about. No accountability to the way things are done. Now, after they have used their Emefiele, they lock him up, because if they release him, there might be some information that will trickle out based on what they have used him to do. One of such a thing is, you know, with the owner of the refinery we have in Lagos, who took how many billions, you know, from the government, only able to pay 190 million naira worth of out of 300 and something billion. No, these are things we need to look into, because we can allege what we believe is supposed to be used for. But the question is that being used for that? And if it's not being used for that, where is it?
Yeah, George, last time you were also saying something that was very poignant. You said, can they use some of this money that comes free like this to subsidize education for students, to subsidize, you know, and that was, you know, remember, George, you said that. Now, Femi is saying That's no money at all. I don't agree with that. I mean, that money could do something, a sector, one of these ministerial sector, that money, however, how little it could sound, could do something. BD, is that not so? Take note also, our conversion has fallen. The Naira is low. So $150 million is a whole lot of money when it's converted to Naira. BD?
Yes, I'm here. Certainly, Femi, you're going to send me $1 million, just $1 million after this show. I can see you.
No, what do I get in return, though? What do I get in return?
Nigerians are not getting anything in return for getting this food.
No. I know they give Sisi.
You see, what we are talking about is this loot coming back to Nigeria is like over 25 years, and we're still getting something from this Abacha. And the thing is this: Abacha has stolen and died, and the government has been coming and going and stealing. If you look at Bribery administration, there's a lot of issue on Bribery administration, but nobody wants to talk about it. Likewise, nobody is talking about the way Abacha wrecks Nigerians. We have institutionalized stealing among our politicians, so nobody is talking about it. Do you understand? Now, the question I want to ask us: I wish Abacha did not die. What would have happened to Nigeria? Do you understand? If Abacha did not die, if this man has stolen this amount of money within the space of how many years? Space of how many years? Was it not 5 years or what? And his loot is coming to Nigeria over 25 years.
After.
Do you understand? And we are not putting anything on ground to checkmate how our leaders steals our money, because they are stealing. Because if they are not stealing, if they are not embezzling and using the public fund the way they like it, our president will not come out openly to tell us that he wants to buy car for such amount of money for a first lady office that is not constitutional. It's just a ceremonial position in Nigeria. Now, like what Sir George said, if this, and since Buhari never accounted, there was a time Sarah sued Buhari to account for the loot, Abacha loot that was returned, because Buhari received a lot of them. He did not account for one. Now, Nigerian situation, Nigerian pattern, are you going to ask Tinubu to account? Certainly he will not, because Buhari did not account. That's what they are going to tell you. Did Buhari account for the ones?
Gentlemen, on top of that, sorry, George, I'm coming. On top of that, let's consider something. These countries returning this money should also be held to some level of crime.
Accountability.
Accountability. Also, this money, probably they've invested in it, they've made money out of it, they've made profits.
Exactly.
They are bringing us the small change. And
massive
is somewhere in their account. So the Western world is responsible for all of this too.
Now, let me tell you, if you hold them responsible, other ones who are still holding your money will die. They will not bring it. What you said is good. They should, because they are party to this crime. They encourage it, because a crime encourager is actually a crime himself. But one thing you should consider, if you bring up that idea, other countries, who can imagine that after 25 years, France, just our neighbor here, have decided to return. Other countries are still holding our money. If you come with that pattern now, other countries, they will not come up to tell you that they are holding your money.
Or do you think that they released this information free and fair? No, there was some under the table pressure that was put on them for them to release. France is not going to release that money on their own account. I mean, it's, that's the truth. The investigation has actually, found out that, some of the loots went to them, and that's why they're releasing the money. They're not doing it because they're such a fantastic, wonderful country that, is such a compassionate country that feels so bad about Nigeria. Therefore, take 150 that was stolen and brought to us. No, they're not doing that. So it was already discovered. But the thing about it is this: as much as we are talking about all this, what we call the traceable amounts of stolen, goods and all that, there are so much going on. I mean, I am telling you, Femi, you heard when the news came out about, the bunkering of oil. We're killing and maiming and destroying some of these little people that are just boiling oil on a barrel. But what about, billions upon billions of barrels that have left the shores of Nigeria, known to the government itself, known to the Air Force itself, known to the military? Ships upon ships coming and going, billions and trillions of dollars, going into, private pocket. If it was not released, we would not have known this. But the truth of the matter is that every arm of the government understood that this oil has been leaving our shores. Because if not, the government ought to know it. The military, every arm of the military knew that such, things are going. And if they're not benefiting from it, there's no way they would have blown the whistle. So, we're talking about peanuts, 150 years, considering, the amount of money. Look at one woman alone, oil minister, one woman, Diezani, the amount of money that she stole. So we need to really consider other areas that these people has been siphoning quadrillions of naira from the shores of our country without being noticed until somebody comes to blow a little whistle. But the problem with us. The problem with us. I asked the question, where is Prigozhin? Prigozhin is dead and gone. This is what happens with Nigerians. We blow hot air about a particular situation. When that is gone, it's like waves. Another news will come out. The other one is dead. Nobody goes back and say, okay, what about what we were discussing a month ago about money that was stolen or the money that was returned? It dies as the days go. So that is the problem we have. No accountability.
Thank you, gentlemen. You all said it well. Famo, I don't know. Let's go into another discussion here now. There's something that happened also during the week. The U.S. warns its citizens of elevated threat. I don't know what that means. Elevated threat in major Nigerian hotels. It says, well, Nigeria is trying to combat it, but there's an elevated threat, and they specified some places that are like a no-go area. They said Borno, Yobe, Kogi, Northern Adamawa State are for terrorism and kidnapping. It's high alert for those places. Bauchi, Gombe, Kaduna, Kanu, Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara. These are places of kidnapping also. High alert, kidnapping. Abia, Anambra, Bayelsa, Delta, Enugu, Imo State, and Rivers. It says there's this high level of crime, kidnapping, plus armed gangs are rating very high. So it tells its citizen, we advise our citizens to be careful as you travel around Nigeria. Gentlemen, the question here is, most times these countries do this. They put fear, they put sometimes false alert. And sometimes we wonder if they know what probably is happening that we don't know. Well, we know, yes, there is high level of all of this, kidnapping, crime, and all that, but why put fear into people? Why do you announce and say, don't go to some place, hey, be careful, elevated threat? Femi, okay, what's your take?
Yeah, well, the truth is, there's no smoke without fire. If you mention Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo, you've got elections coming up. What happens whenever there's elections in Nigeria? The politicians use it to perpetrate their criminality. It's just a normal standard scenario in Nigeria. Nothing new. We've had incidences of recent Boko Haram attacks in Borno, Yobe, and other places. You've had kidnappings in the Middle Belt, community clashes. So there's a lot of things happening all over Nigeria. So these things are real. So them highlighting it is nothing new. Obviously, Nigerians don't like to hear foreign countries when they say that. But when you go on the social media, we are the Nigerians that are condemning Nigeria all the time. You find, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. We always talk about negativity about our country. We're never talking anything positive about our country. So why should we be bothered when foreign countries take on board what these people who are governor, you got people like Dati going on TV telling everybody that, look, you must revolt. You understand? You must take back your country. You understand? That, oh, the elections have happened. No, it's not enough. We should go out there and take back our country. The president was elected unconstitutionally after the Supreme Court verdict. How can that make any sense? So he's now telling people to go out there and protest and revolt. And then when you have things that, like what's happening in Imo State, you know, you got to ask yourself, are they listening to the words of Dati? Let me finish what I'm saying. I didn't intercede when you were speaking. So now when you have what's happening in Imo State, is it that they're taking the words of Dati verbatim? Let's go out there and revolt and take over Nigeria. Maybe that's what's going on. So people need to be careful when they make certain statements that galvanize people to do unconscionable things in order to serve a political agenda. Elections are over. People should focus on building Nigeria. You talk about accountability and transparency. Great, let's do that. Let's talk about that. Let's find out ways. Like I said, there's Freedom of Information Act. There are ways in which people can go and find out this information. Instead of people like David Hussein going out and going to CSU and going to FBI files, why don't they look at EFCC files? Why don't they look at files in Nigeria to expose the corruption that Betty was talking about and bring that out to the fore? Let's find out. If you say that there was corruption under the Buhari government, let's have investigative journalists talk about that and expose those.
We have 3 minutes to go out here, brothers. George, I see you.
No, what I was trying to correct actually was the fact that he never said that you must go out. He said when the country, that's the key word there, when the country decides to take back their when these citizens decides to take back their country.
Read between the line, George. Read between the line. I was at an event in London where, hold on, I was there when Dati said, you know what Dati said? Dati said,
when he was making that statement, he made it several times.
Dati said in London, okay, I've got him on tape. Okay, I've got him in London. I've got him in London where he said, I'll tell you what he said. In London, people protest and they chain themselves to the railings of the road. They do this, they do that. So, he's more or less telling people you should do the same. You understand? However, he's not putting himself on the line. He's standing in the background and telling people to do things which he himself can't do. This is really ridiculous. He should focus on the fact that he's lost the election and he should move to 2027 and focus on that, not telling people to revolt now.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I say something? Massive Mike, Sir George, please. If pillar, they will have pillar. Is pillar we use in building house, Abi? Pillar.
Yeah.
When the pillar under the house is broken, do we keep
foundation
cement under the house?
No.
When the foundation is bad,
yes,
and Mr. Femi, just
everything crumbles. Everything crumbles.
Femi, do we do that?
Everything crumbles.
The analogy, that's a false analogy. The reality is the elections have gone. The guy's going to be there for 4 years.
I ask you a different question. Now, wait, let me land. The truth is this. Yes, the Supreme Court, the highest authority has said Tinubu won the election. And we have assessed it. But you and I sitting here, if we tell ourselves the truth, we know that Tinubu did not win that election. So that's it. Ahmed, coming to
you know that. I don't agree with that.
Maybe you know, if you have a conscience, you know the truth.
We must have a show specifically about that, and we can discuss, because if you're trying to tell me that Peter Obi won in the North, 19 states, which he did not, or he came second in any states in the North, which he did not, or that he won in the Southwest, which he didn't, only won in Lagos, I wonder how he won the election. And we know that Atiku didn't win. So if Atiku didn't win, if Peter Obi didn't win,
Obi was first. Obi was first in that election. Atiku came third. Atiku came
Gentlemen,
are you telling me that Peter Obi came first?
I love this.
Which states did he win? Which states did he win?
Win that election. Tinubu did not win. Forget all this about that. They need to win. Stop. So people should stop silent.
gentlemen, if you look at time, it's okay, George. It's okay.
Let God be true and every man a liar. Let God be true and every man a liar. So
we'll be back on Friday. It's getting real interesting. I think this is it. This is what we want. Thank you very much, Femi Oke, for coming through. That's our new panelist on the Schengen Story News Echoes. Thank you very much, BD from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, George, our big brother in Toronto, Canada. Viewers, let me also say that we had some quite number of viewers listening to you. Viewers, we'll be back on Friday. We'll be looking into some foreign affairs issue updates. Until then, let's keep the faith and have a beautiful week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.